This is my home patch. It's an overcast day on the south coast of England. It's early November. See if we can find some trees. So this is a bit of heathland. It's slowly being overtaken by Scots and oak. It's an isolated little pocket and becoming quite a rare habitat. It's producing little things like this, which I think is probably worthy for some use. Heather is starting to struggle in this little piece here as we walk over that side. You'll see this a bit thicker. The sea's that way to the south, about a mile. And the woodland is encroaching from the north. Bits of oak scattered around. I'm sure there's some possibilities with that one. But the birch and the pine is starting to shut out the light and dry the soil up. Gorse as well. And bramble. And willow. Let's get a bit more in the open and see what we can find. When I was younger, this was all open in the path. As you can see, slowly disappearing. The path used to crisscross it. It's probably untouched since the Ice Age. It's very still today, it's hardly a breath of wind. And it's been a very mild autumn. I don't think we've even been down to a frost yet, which is quite unseasonable here in the UK. Hence the colours of the trees. They just seem to go straight to brown. There hasn't really been any colour. Let's make our way that way. To heaven. Great heaven, you get quite large. Perhaps 4 foot. And still some colour on the heather. I'll come back later next year. Have a good look at the heather a bit more closely. Lots of Scots. Some of them getting large, you can see. But in amongst the smaller stuff we can use for bonsai. Little fellow over here. Let's have a look at this one. They tend to stretch out a bit where the heather forces them up. It's probably another 12 inches to the floor. And there's lots of you come across little ones like this. Shows promise. Lots of branching. Really quite tight. Let's have a look at the base. Got my gloves on really. There's lots of adders here. A slow one. Took a dry bite last year on the thumb, which was exciting. She's about 24 inches tall. An ideal candidate. Nice little turn here with a good branch. Take these down. Another nicely balanced branch on this side. And up into a really nice apex. This wouldn't take a lot to turn into a bonsai tree. We'll come back to this one. As you can see, this is probably only 20 years old. Already setting seed. If I don't want to lose this space as an open paradise for wildlife, I think I better take some more of these out and hold back the forest as long as I can. Another old path here, you can just about see it. I don't know if you can see it on camera. They're crisscross, one goes that way, but they've long since gone. Find something a bit bigger. No, this is too tall. It's probably nearly 6 foot. It could quite easily we use that as an apex. Got some inner branching here we could probably start to make some branches with. There's another here. You can see the bark's already starting to mature up. And that being about 5 foot at the moment. If we came in here, I think we could probably then use this as an apex. Get it down to maybe 3, maybe 4 foot on a minnow. At the largest size you want to display. It's another good choice. Of course, here's the underlying moss. Climate change. Maybe transforming this a little bit, as well as the encroaching forest from the north. Birch and alder, and the gorse. Obviously the gorse has always been here, along with the birch, but the thickness of the pine is changing how it looks. We'll take a walk into the forested bit over here and I'll show you the difference It takes away the heather. It's a good example of the natural growth habitat of Scots. It does like to whirl out. So finding a tree with some balance can be tricky. It's a little bit easier when they're younger. I'll show you the difference as we get into the trees. What seems to happen is the heather just doesn't get enough light. The grass survives for a bit. And you can see as we get into the dark, it disappears. The bramble takes over. So the heathland is slowly shrinking. I think it's important that at least somebody tries to keep it open. Fortunately for me, I think that's probably me with the bonsai. I'll try and keep this little open area. It's probably about 25 acres. It's one last little pocket. If you go 20 miles to the north, higher ground, there's some lovely heathland that's not being encroached. And this little isolated pocket is kind of, I think, my responsibility to try and keep it. I think this side in the 70s, early 80s, we were part of the barn owl reintroduction programme. Loss of barn owls due to habitat destruction. I often see a barn owl in this piece of forest. They successfully recolonised. You've seen them flying with adders in their mouths. Just make my way into this corner. Scots here. Nice candidate. Especially as you've got quite a nice thickness to it already. Maybe a little tall. To come in and maybe make something else the apex. I'm surprised at this bottom piece. This used to be very, very wet down this end. And now that is thick woodland again. So not only is it being encroached from the north and the east, the natural boundary of Scots on the west, in the south, that's getting thicker and thicker. So we'll look at taking some trees in the springtime, removing some of the small stuff. The larger stuff maybe we'll prune and make use of the wood for the platform. But that is a beautiful little natural turn. A slightly literati, probably 24 inches, and very, very healthy. Obviously nicely set buds, in quite tight. I think we'll definitely put that one on the list. I think we might actually prune that one today and maybe set some wire. You can see this is probably the front. Let's just remove some of this dead. I don't think they're really good enough to be gin. Maybe that one round the back is. Move in for the second. So that would be a nice lower branch. There's a chance, and you see the colour. It's a little bit light. I think once we take the top out, it should push a bit of strength back in. That's unfortunate that that's gone. It's been a nice first lower branch that side, but we can now utilise this one and give the balance one way and the other. Might leave that one in and this one, just in case this doesn't make it. So if we come out and what do you reckon there? And your apex. There's a good balancing branch here. We've got one in the back. Obviously the whirling, so 3's in here now. Probably reduce some of these out. Don't weaken the tree too much, but obviously all the power is going into the top. So I think we'll have that off. Now if we said that was an apex, that's a very important branch here. We'll shorten this one up. We'll shorten that one in the back up. Come into the top here. Just lift that out. This is going to be overhanging this smaller branch. So we'll get rid of that. This is quite long and leggy. So we'll have him out. We'll leave him maybe for a gin. Seems underneath this one, in nature that wouldn't be there. So we're left with a bar branch here, which isn't particularly attractive, but we need this one for that side, so we'll remove that. Let's put some wire on. I'm using a bit of thin copper. Try and link these two together. Not run too much out. We want the wire to come this way round on this branch, anti-clockwise. Leave enough. Set that round the back. Up over this one. Get a couple of turns on. More than 45-degree angle. I'm supposed to move the wire around. Continue down the lead branch to the end. Using aluminium wire, just a bit more gentle on the tree. And cheaper. Take this round. Not on that one. Not on that one. Do some back budding. They should develop into nice pads. We'll set another piece on this. Quite a bit more than first branch. Turn on a bit more for that one. Again, naturally follow out from the way that the branch is coming, so I think we've got to bring this to the front. Again, anti-clockwise. Let's get a turn on there. We've got to try and think 20, 30 years down the line where the tree will be. We need that. How's it looking? I'm trying to style it like a Japanese white pine or a black pine. I think Scots pine is possibly one of the best pines for bonsai in the UK. I think we'll send this way here. In the UK, it's definitely easily available out in the wild and grows well from seed. Find your local patch. Get out there in the wild and see what you can find. Come over that one and bring that one this way. This time of year, November, October through November, can do heavy work to pines. You've seen one of my previous videos of wedge cutting. You can see how hard you can work them. Let's set another piece of wire on top before we work out where that's going to go. Don't need to do too much at the moment. In the form of detail wiring, that'll come later. Some back budding. Maybe there's even too many branches still left in here. Let's set this one. Scots pine has a weeping habitat, or habit should I say. Quite often you see a large pine with a nice silhouette and everything has grown out the crown. I'll leave this one in the front. That's okay. I'll shorten him. Now this one. Gap here we can Bring this up and over. Set the crown round. I mean, this is the front here. We want to get the crown, and we'll give it a chance to maybe pick out a few here. I'll just lift it. This in time will disappear. And as this swells, not very natural as in the new apex. So now we're down to about 24 inches. Should be a nice size. Obviously you can develop up a bit more. 20-30 years time. Maybe 2 or 3 inches thick. Nice pads. That's not bad for one for today. So if you're liking what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. If this is the short video, please have a look at the long one. And come join me in the wilderness for bonsai in the wild.